Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. So, evening, everyone. My name is Luna.
My
This
name is Brad.
is.
Hello.
All right. Excellent. So, right now, we are going to talk about Mars and Gemini. So, overall, let's go ahead and get started. Now, whenever we talk about this, it's going to indicate and cover anywhere between your sun, moon, rising, and also your Mars. So, it's a very good thing if you do know your astrology natal chart, because it'll actually show you where you need to really pay attention, how to adjust with this upcoming energy, and especially whenever the retrograde hits for this Gemini energy. Okay, well, Mars and Gemini energy. All right, Brad.
Oh,
So right
sorry.
now, oh.
No, I was gonna go ahead and start sharing out
Oh,
while
you
while
don't.
we're getting
You
started.
know, you don't have to. We can do it afterwards.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, we can just do it afterwards. All right. So
All
what
right.
this is about is we're gonna go ahead and talk about the collective energy before we go into the signs. Okay. So Gemini is all about communication. It's about knowledge, overall the curiosity, but also messenger. Did you want to add anything to Gemini energy?
Yes. Gemini also rules media. Television, newspaper, social media, transportation. Like you said, communication, knowledge, social interaction, siblings. So close people that are close to you. Um, and hands-on learning, basically, learning by what do you call it, hands-on training and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything dealing with knowledge and communication, guys.
Yes.
Now, Mars. This is more about physical action. It's masculine energy, ego, and everything that's coming from our nocturnal place, which is kind of like our moon sign, our subconscious, even coming to the surface. So, our fears, our desires, our wants, our needs, they are definitely going to be pushed to the forefront, especially during the Gemini season, because Gemini is also an air sign, so action orientated as well. So you meet it with Mars, and that's even, adding on to that action orientation of what's needed to happen. Now, Mars is also kind of like about animal instincts for aggression, anger, and overall survival. So it's going to push people to be more rash with their decisions, impatient, but overall just overly sensitive and aggressive.
I agree.
Now, collectively, though, it's very important to have that devil's advocate energy on, hey, why is this happening? Why are they feeling this type of way? In other words, the outside, how's your society viewing you? Society, of course, is going to be our close loved ones, acquaintances, business partners, or even, just random Joe Schmoes on the street.
Hmm.
And this is going to serve as like a indication and the perspective of having that focus and not using our sarcastic or snarky tendencies in order to feel that we are on the defensive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It's like well, Mars being in this position will have the tendency to want to overstate certain points of view and not really kind of, like you said, play the devil's advocate, right? Like you're saying, like you're gonna want to be forceful with your points of views and whatnot and things like that, and instead of like taking a neutral stance to kind of understand perspectives and whatnot. And it can be very reckless, impatient, headstrong, so to say, forceful. So it'll be a time when people are going to be have the tendency to try to force their points of view, and like you were saying, kind of what do you call it? What did you say? Being
Well, it's going to be like,
mischievous and whatnot.
yeah, it is very, very mischievous energy that is coming forward, especially with that Gemini,
Yeah.
because it's going to be very tricky. A lot of mysterious motives or even conflicts arising from different services, different situations. So during this period, it's best to think before you do or say, but don't hesitate, because Gemini energy is about taking that action, not as soon as possible. In other words, be reasonable, be mindful of other people's feelings along with yourself and the consequences to those things. Consequences, guys, are not, just negative. They can be positive and negative.
Of course.
So overall, being beneficial to what's going on as a whole. So more than likely, everybody's going to feel like they're busy bees wanting to start something, or they're going to feel a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure to either journaling or being outspoken. Hence what Brad was saying earlier, social media. People are going to want to voice their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it's better to listen and to not take it personally, because again, this is about communication. Everybody's subconscious is coming forth. So it's just like, okay, listen, why are they feeling this way? Be more of that problem solver, or what you were saying earlier, Brad, being neutral.
Right.
So that you can have that perspective. And the best tarot card that I can even think of that would represent this is going to be like the Hangman, being able to glimpse out. Now, so because Mars goes into Gemini, this is going to be the best time to take action on past plans, past projects, or even start new ones. But to get started right away, otherwise it's not going to happen. But also to be reasonable about your expectations as a whole. And again, it's about seeing that silver lining. Just because you fell before, there's going to be new ways and new avenues. That's why it's the whole new experience that's coming here. Hence knowledge, knowing what you're going to be capable of, knowing what resources you have on hand and can have whenever you intertwine, your networking. All right. Anything you want to add to that?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like you were saying, in the benefic terms of Mars in Gemini. Like you said, for every good thing that comes out of things, there tends to be a bad side, or vice versa, right? So the ability to push forward information is going to become, tempting for some to want to access more information, and so people will have the tendency to want to demand more truth and more information based on things that would benefit society as a whole, so to say, legal matters and whatnot, things that are going on in government. People are going to be a lot more assertive about getting that information that is important or what's helpful for everybody's, the common good of everybody.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's going to be the tendency to push forward a know-it-all energy is going to be high, or manipulation and gossip and whatnot will also arise in many different areas. Also, with sensory overload too, this is going to be something where people are going to feel like they're trying to take on too many different, so much input from information, and that can be overwhelming on the senses, or run the risk of like starting projects and then kind of skipping around to starting new projects, because we're going to have the tendency to just be kind of like, think about it, like Gemini is ruled naturally by Mercury. So all these mercurial things, it's going to feel like it's going to be a 7-month long Mercury retrograde, which people freak out about, you know what I mean? Like, because, things like tend to happen, especially with technology and whatnot. So during that retrograde period, which is why Mars is going to stay so long in Gemini, 7 months, is because of that whole retrograde period from October to, I believe, January. It will be moving backwards.
Yeah.
We are actually currently in the shadow period as of yesterday afternoon, Central Time in America. adjust for wherever you are. Around noontime yesterday in Central Time, U.S. time, Mars officially entered its shadow degree, which was 8, and it's going to go all the way to 25. And October 30th at 25, it will retrograde. During that time, after then, that's when it's going to feel like an extended Mercury retrograde, basically. Some of these things that's Mars and Gemini. But as far as the retrograde goes, even like I said, Gemini also rules transportation, public transportation and whatnot. Though there going to be a tendency to see a lot of things like road blockages, traffic jams, minor setbacks and things like that. Also it would be a very good time to make sure that all of your mechanical work is up to date and whatnot. Oil changes, all that good stuff. Well, during this retrograde time, everything is going to feel like it's being put on hold, and especially Mars in retrograde, it's one of the most you can feel it very heavily because Mars likes to go and drive forward, and so when it's being told to slow down and go backwards a little bit, Mars is not happy doing that, right? So it will be felt very intensely. And it's going to cause lots of frustrations. I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? Like, because of the fact that Mars likes to move forward, so things that you're Gemini ruling the hands, things that are hands-on, things that you're learning or education-wise and whatnot, you will have setbacks and things like that are going to cause a lot of frustration as far as gaining new experience or knowledge in certain areas. Also, power struggles because of that information factor, or whether for all the different signs, it'll be in a different area of their life, obviously, but power struggles maybe in business or, just in general, as far as like the dominant and submissive type of stance that we all have will have to be re-examined, and rethought out. And especially when it comes to, even with the self and how you take in information and what you're used to, how you're used to learning or how you're used to processing information is going to have to be looked at and re-examined. And sometimes, Mars being taking most of the time taking charge and whatnot, sometimes the backwards movement will force a sense of humility. People are going to be humbled, so to say. So I think that's pretty much covers all that. The way Mars will act in Gemini, and especially moving backwards and forwards again. So, after that retrograde time going forward will be our third chance to look at what's going on. So like I said, we officially entered the shadow period as of yesterday. So from yesterday up until October 30th, people should take note of the things that happen around them in their lives, especially concerning mercurial issues, air issues, Gemini. To take note of all these things that happen between now and then, because those are the things that you're going to have to review once Mars starts moving backwards. And then once again, moving forward, we'll have a second chance to approach these issues from a different stance or with new knowledge, so to say. All right. That's what I have for the retrograde period for the general collective.
Yeah.
So whenever you're ready to start moving into the individual signs, we can do that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay. So we agreed to, I think I agreed, to start with Capricorn energy.
You did. You sure did.
All right. So with Capricorns, this is going to be the time period to be careful about overworking oneself, especially, I don't know, there's just a lot of burnout energy that is coming from the collective, and that's more coming from like a a divination mindset rather than what astrology is saying. But it's also going to be reassess your home/work life. Okay, find a better balance and to improve your health overall, because you have to be mindful about what energy you're putting out there and even for yourself. And this energy overall keeps speaking like the Four of Swords energy in tarot, where you have to take that rest space. You have to um, plan for what's next to come, because there's just a whole lot of overwhelming situations and scenarios that's supposed to happen for you guys, even on an individual standpoint.
Hmm.
And it looks like it's represented by the sixth house,
Yes.
which is Virgo again, which counters, work environment and health overall.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you want to add to that, Brad?
Yes, like you said, it does rule. Gemini will be the Mars will be in your sixth house Capricorn. So, like you said, I agree. From what I found, the tendency to be overworking, which is a Capricorn thing to begin with, right?
Yeah.
But so it's gonna feel very naturally, the want to overwork. But Capricorn, you're still human. You gotta take a break sometimes, because if not, then you burn yourself out. Like you said, you get burnout. The thing is, that stress that could come from overworking or being frustrated with career things going on in the career that are setbacks, especially around that retrograde time, could cause so much stress that sixth house also rules. Like we talked about some of the physical properties of certain housing systems and whatnot. The stomach, intestines, and whatnot like that. You could get yourself sick to the point to where you're actually showing, having ulcers and gastrointestinal problems and stuff like that, inflammation, whatnot,
So
because
it would be like bloating as well.
bloating and whatnot. Yeah, because Mars rules the blood circulatory system. So, naturally that's going to be something that we'll have to watch out for, Capricorns especially.
So yeah.
No,
Well, when
yeah,
it comes to the solar plexus, what I know about like a hurt, broken, or even torn solar plexus on an energy field level is that it will cause like nausea, anxiety, like you said, like the turning of guts, so not being able to even keep down water, having to get on the whole like rice diet.
Supplementing and whatnot.
Mhm.
Also, I found for Capricorn that I think you'll be more proactive about finding new sources of income, more work, but also run the risk of being overly aggressive if you have a business and you have employees, people who work under you. There's going to be this is where you're going to have to be watching out to not be so critical of your employees, and just have some compassion, because especially when the retrograde season comes, there will be routines that are going to be disrupted, and you're going to probably have the tendency to overreact to certain issues that arise in your business, even probably lose employees, because who knows, for various reasons, whatever it may be. And these are kind of things that are going to be looked at and remedied without being too aggressive, Also, during that time, the backwards movement time, it would be wise to actually take account. Like, you're going to notice and you're going to start to acknowledge health issues that do arise, but during that time, you're going to want to actually address them and take care of them, go see a doctor, whatnot, set up appointments and whatnot, instead of, overlooking it and just powering through like Capricorn tends to do. No, you don't want to do that. You have to take the time to take care of yourself, because, routines are going to be disrupted. your everyday routine is gonna be tested. You might have to reanalyze, relook at the way you approach your day. Your everyday routines. You know what I mean? Because in the end, whenever this is all said and done, all that processing and reconfiguring of your schedules and whatnot, it's going to benefit you in the end. You know what I mean? You're going to find more efficient ways to utilize your time and your resources. So that's what I have for Capricorn.
Yeah. So the guidance I have for Capricorn is I did pull the Devil card in the reverse position, but also the Queen of Cups. And immediately what I'm getting is that you do need to shed old beliefs, old expectations, especially whenever it comes to work, family life. And it's because it's like you're bringing your work home with you. Whether it's like the stress of work or the expectations of work, you're just allowing it to burden you. So it's very important that you give it a rest and you start nurturing how you feel as an individual. Because again, while Mars is very, very active and influence, it is going to cause you to be restless, starting to resent even, and having a bitter tongue. So remember, guys, be very mindful of what you're saying, especially if you are a Capricorn, because it shows that you're being insensitive to the relationships outside of you. Okay, so I guess that does touch on exactly what Brad was saying earlier as well. All right, Brad, are we ready for Aquarius?
We are.
Excellent. All right, so Aquarius is going to be ruled at this time in the 5th house. It says here to be ruled by the heart chakra, to definitely be active within like your kids side or even with kids.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so be playful, be inventive, be curious even. And to also mind your ego, especially in terms of love. Now, this is going to be the time to work on sexuality as a whole. So it's whether it's intimacy with your partner or even loving yourself more. Okay. But also means attracting new love as a whole. Again, that's going to be others for others, or even loving someone in a different light. Let's just say you have a family member that, yes, family's family, and that's your principles behind it. Well, understand that everybody still has that potential for good. And to maybe sway them with your words and tell them, hey, I like whenever you do this. You're a better person whenever you do this, and keep it away from, our bad habits, because everybody has coping mechanisms and maybe they're just a little tougher on the outside. But remember to enjoy yourself. And this also means to go back to old or new hobbies in terms of business or just for pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely to be careful of overspending.
Ah, interesting.
Yes.
That is interesting. As a Leo ruled by the 5th house, I have issues with that kind of stuff. Already as it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be like overspending for self, but I think it's more of like the people pleasing aspect.
Right. Yes.
Of overspending, like, oh, okay, I just want to make sure that they enjoy themselves because I'll enjoy if they enjoy.
Right.
Okay. And that's typically the type of energy, especially whenever I read that sentence.
That is 5th house energy for sure.
Yeah. Well, because like the 5th house is what? Children, sports, and creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also ruled by the sun. So it's very, very expressive.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. All Leo traits, obviously, courageous, like you said, outgoing.
Very passionate.
Passionate, yes. That's what I have. Also, we'll find new ways to, and Aquarians are naturally very good with creativity and inventiveness, so it'll be a fun time for Aquarius to just try and find different outlets to be creative, you know what I mean? Or go out and have fun. Do the spontaneous stuff, that Aquarians like to be spontaneous, so find different ways to do that, and yeah, love for self, love for, if you have a relationship, you will become more passionate. Should be already happening right now.
I think
Especially outgoing, whatnot. But also, like you said, with as far as children goes, um, there's going to be that childlike feeling happening with Aquarius, and they're going to feel a little youthful, and you know, romantic situations will feel more like that, that puppy love feeling again once, or even if you have children, kids will be a lot more active, hyperactive, um, and expressive, so it'll be a great time to start finding different ways to get involved with children, and teach them how to be how to assert themselves in different creative ways, and find healthy outlets to for their imagination, because a lot of kids nowadays are very overstimulated, over involved with their
yeah.
technology and whatnot. I mean, like there's going to be times whenever you're going to want to spend time with them, and or if you don't like kids, what I mean, kind of revisit your own inner child, so to say, and kind of do the things that you used to do when you were a child. You know what I mean? Like treat yourself the way, if you have traumas and stuff like that from childhood, go back and treat that inner child nicely, the way you always deserve to be treated. And okay, going to the retrograde season, talking about that, and being that you're going to be wanting to find so much time to make time to be creative and have fun, some things in the retrograde season will be spoiled. Plans will be spoiled for fun trips. Sorry, but fun events may be having to be postponed until maybe after Mars goes back direct. Um, you may have creative blockages because you'll have the want to be able to create something, paint something, draw something, write something, but you'll start to have mental blockages come that time when Mars starts to drop backwards. Being that it's in Gemini, and that information overload could cause, frustration, because Mars is going to be very frustrated once he starts moving backwards.
Right.
Also, be careful with created already. If you have anything that you have created, artwork, sculptures, books, or anything, or if you're writing, if you're literate, literature, they could be ruined. So be careful with your things. Make sure everything's protected, wrapped up, or and whatnot. I mean, like there could be things going on in the world where things go missing from museums and whatnot, things like that. So interesting to think about those kinds of things. Also, be mindful of children and the way their hyperactivity could become overwhelming and frustrating for people. Be mindful of that, and be kind to children, as well as being kind to your inner child. Let's see, fifth house.
Well, the one thing I have to say about the fifth house is that while you were talking about how like kids are being overstimulated, well, even as a whole, being just overstimulated, it means to also be physically active, getting to like the basics of everything. What did we do whenever we were children? Were we on our devices? No. Kids nowadays are, but we weren't. We were outside playing in the mud. Well, absolutely. Go play with mud. Stomp in the mud. Get on a bike, walk around, as long as it's physically active, guys. And I really do mean that, because it'll bring out that child within us. It'll bring back those memories. And whenever I do think about memories, this is where a lot of the guidance right now is that even our childhood traumas are going to start to arise, but to battle them out means to put them to rest and to become inspired by them. How have you grown how can you motivate yourself even now within your own creations? And this goes back to artwork or even art forms. Even dancing, it's still art,
Right. Yeah.
So anything you do can be considered an art form. And to go ahead and engage in that, right now more than ever, because that's exactly what's calling to like your inner self, your soul, and what you're being, guided to do anyway. And if you think, hey, I don't have the time of day, guess what? If you're saying that right now, just know that the universe has its own way of speaking and be like, oh, you think you don't have the time. I'll make time for you. So again, make sure you're making the time for it and not creating an excuse because again, the universe will help you. And usually we don't exactly like how the universe helps.
Yeah. When you don't pay attention, right? That's when the universe is going to come and set you straight. So that's a good point, though. Like say a retrograde season comes around, and then, some of your plans for fun are spoiled. It'll force you to be that Aquarian and go and be inventive and find a different way to have fun instead of whatever happened. Like, don't let it get you down. You know what I mean? Like, still take the time to find a new way or a different way, something that you didn't expect, but it's still fun. Still
Yeah,
creative.
exactly. All right, are we ready to move to Pisces?
You're gonna pull cards?
I kind of already did.
You did?
So that was kind of like the advice about if you don't do this, then this happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what the cards were saying. So the cards that I pulled out was the Death card in the reverse position, but also it was another Queen. It was like the Queen of Wands.
Okay.
So it was definitely a lot of feminine energy coming out, but a lot of inspirational energy. And it was just like, don't basically allow the past to hinder you from going forward or even to create something new.
All right. Perfect. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Okay.
All right. So Pisces. All right. Right now it's going to be ruled by the 4th house. And this is going to be the best time to buy, sell your home or for your home. Do a little spring cleaning, get rid of the clutter. For those of you that haven't been working, really consider working from home because this is about the home experience. And whenever I say home experience, it's also thinking about like who is also in your home. So your loved ones, even roommates to a small extent, but giving more to yourself on the emotional sense. Because Pisces, of course, is going to be ruled by water. So it's about all of our like emotional needs and intellect, but also our intuitive ways of adjusting, especially to the pressure of what Mars energy is already giving us. So I do feel like Pisces is going to get hit pretty hard because it's going to be like a culture shock of their water energy mixed with a whole bunch of force of masculine energy.
That fire.
Yeah. So it's definitely, oil water concept here.
Mm-hmm. 4th house naturally ruling water as well.
Oh, yes. Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Home and family. Yeah.
Indeed.
It's a lot of water energy. So you guys are definitely going to feel the heat coming on from this Mars. But this is where your pathway is of, yes, go ahead and navigate. It's okay to have a little bit of that hermit energy in order to really focus and put the mirror on self, What are you needing on an emotional standpoint? What are your loved ones needing? Are they not being heard? Because there's where a lot of aggression and frustration is going to happen, where everybody's going to want to resent and be bitter and be very snarky with their commentary. And it's just because they don't feel like they're being understood, or there's just miscommunication at some point. Well, this is a good time to sit down and be like, okay, I want to understand you and what's going on. What is the goal point? What made you start feeling this way? What made you start acting this way? So yeah, I would expect like like tantrums from like even yourself or even your partners. And it's just because this energy is going to very much overwhelm your emotional senses because of how interconnected your water energy is.
Dude, I agree. Yes, and that's interesting. We did point out that Mars is now be moving through the fourth house, which naturally is ruled by a water Cancer, um, and the fact that it happens to be in Gemini, which is the air factor, that tendency to pop off. You know, what I mean, like steam. You know, when steam gets combustible, you know, it's highly pressurized, and there's the risk. You run the risk of if you don't release that pressure somewhere, then you could burn somebody, burn yourself. You know. Yeah. See, so family arguments will be probably coming up a lot. Yet, um, you could also have different positive things like, you know, home projects or renovations and whatnot, or buying a new home, or coming into inheritance of a new home, or things for your house, luxury items and whatnot. Wanting to keep a positive mindset and keep that positive energy in your home and around your home. Yeah, you know, things like that, like wanting to establish that feeling in around your house and your room, you know, bedroom, whatnot. It's going to be something that you're going to want to do to make it more personable, I guess you could say. You know, something that you can. People will come into your home and be like, "Oh, this feels like very much like you." You know what I mean? Like those kinds of things are going to be the tendency that we're going to want to push for. Although sometimes, you know, if during retrograde time, we will see that, say, if you get something started on a home renovation, or you planning to move to a new home, there may be some setbacks there. You know what I mean? Material, monetary, you know, whatever the issues may be, you may have a little bit of a delay coming into these projects. Or if you're happening to find yourself in a family feud, that retrograde time will be a time to actually step back, maybe give some space, and try and re-examine the dynamics between yourself and said family members, to move forward. You know, because family will always be family, and that's something that you know, when issues arise, it's going to be hard not to try to. It'll be hard to try not to impose yourself and your beliefs on family members, because one way or another, you still have to live with each other to some extent. And if not, you know, or maybe if you have toxic family members, there might be a time to re-examine their place in your life, and whether it's going to be more healthy to try to move past the issues, or to just walk away and leave it be for your own peace and sanity. Yeah. At the same time, the tendency, like I said, for that water to become superheated to where it becomes an air. You know, it becomes steam. The tendency to be scorching. You know, hot. Like burning people with your words, being cruel. You know what I mean? You'll have the tendency to be very snappy, which is, you know, like the fourth house is ruled by Cancer. You know, which they can be. You know, they can be protective, and you know that what do you call it? The crayfish gets snappy sometimes. You know, so yeah, there'll be possibly times, if you're not careful with your words, that you may end up with foot and mouth syndrome. You know.
It's kind of funny because that's pretty much like the guidance here.
Oh, really?
is to be careful about your words and what you're trying to set out forth. Because as much as you're trying to set out knowledge out, in other words, just trying to educate someone, it can come off as very, very rude or pushy or like out of bounds just because of a tone or the words that you're using. So this is the time and point to understand and know and acknowledge what you're trying to do overall for the home itself, for the environment. What is your end goal? And how can you compromise with others, especially during this very, very masculine season where everybody's going to want to snap at each other's throats and trying to get the upper hand, so to speak. But it's with reason and understanding that, hey, we can compromise here. I I will sacrifice this, we'll do this way and this that way. Just like even with this live, I was like, hey, let's start with Capricorn. But you're just like, let's start with Aries because that's like the traditional. And I'm like,
it's your show, we'll compromise.
There was compromise. You see, guys, we're definitely navigating this energy of Pisces already, of the guidance of Pisces.
Because you and I, we banter, we'll bicker a little bit, but all in the end, we got love for each other, and there's it's all in fun, right? Like,
oh yeah, we get along very well. Just that we both have a big ego.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. That's that Leo placement for us.
All right. Are you good? I'm good with Pisces.
I'm good with Pisces. Yep.
Okay, cool. So Aries.
Now moving into Aries.
Yeah, now we're moving to Aries. So it didn't take that long to get here.
Nah.
All right, Aries.
Of course, Aries being impatient and Mars being their ruler. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it is the ruler. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So there's a lot of self. There's going to be a lot of entitlement already. Oh, this needs to happen. And this is where Aries people, you need to chill out. Okay, chill. Because with this already masculine energy of Mars, you're adding in more Mars. So that's super masculine. That's super like, okay, hear me roar. And then no one gets to hear you because you're roaring too loudly. It's okay.
They hear you roar, but they can't understand what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah, just chill out, okay? And right now it's going to be also represented by the third house, which is about communication and learning style. So definitely, again, watch your tongue. Keep the talk light hearted. So in other words, if you see that someone's already getting on the defensive, change tactics, lessen it. I know we like to confront a confrontation very, very aggressively already. No, simmer back, try to be soft about your energy and how you approach the subject as it is, or even have a median between you and them. Maybe someone else can levy that gap between that communication, because again, miscommunication is going to happen, especially with Aries being as forthcoming as it is. So self-improvement, reinventive. Remember, this is about adding to yourself. You want to become an influencer, especially under this Gemini energy as well, because it'll keep you very intellectual about what you're trying to navigate through. Especially as an individual, are you trying to like talk your way to something, through something? But regardless, this is going to be the time period where you need to travel. So experience is going to be key. But the thing with traveling, guys, is you have to be mindful of other people's culture, their background. Sometimes, racial slurs or even jokes are just not going to be appropriate, even if they are to you. So remember, be mindful. And again, healthy competition is the best kind of competition. So don't be ultra competitive where, how do they say, like, sorry, loser? Yeah, it's not. And again, I don't know. I just keep seeing a lot of miscommunication happen with you guys. A lot of boundaries being overstepped on both ends here with you and other people, like over and over. That's just what I keep seeing.
I do see that as well. Although for Aries, I believe it will be a great time, auspicious time for networking, getting your name out there, and collaborating with other people on new ventures and whatnot.
So
Whether
to influence, to
yeah,
become an influencer.
yeah, or collaborative efforts. You know what I mean? Whether they be personal or work related. You know, that'll be a great time to work with others. Learning new trades and hobbies, things that are hands-on, being the third house, ruling the hands. Also, it will be a time to start pushing forth ideas and trying to deliver information to other people. Things that you may have, had sudden epiphanies, which are going to be kind of another thing about Mars being like just all sudden and like identifying, different ways of thinking, different ideas. They'll come to you like just suddenly, like out of thin air. Also, if you have family members, siblings, more or less, that you haven't spoken to in a while, they may be coming out to reach out to you, or you may have the want or tendency to feel like you need to reach out to them. Yet at the same time, the Martian tendency to be very forceful could, like you said, run the risk of crossing boundaries and comfort zones, getting in people's bubble, or vice versa, having other people kind of cross your comfort boundaries and whatnot. Also, like I said, with those ideas that are going to be coming to you like epiphanies, like aha moments, you're going to want to iron all this information out, this new information. You want to make sure that it's hard for Mars to be patient, and because Mars just wants to keep going and going. But all this information, you should really absorb it, sit with it before you start moving on with new ideas. Write them down. You know what I mean? Write them down. Be a little more strategic about it before diving in all full-heartedly. Because, like I said, once between that retrograde time comes, those ideas are going to be half-baked. And you'll have a bunch of things going on, and nothing is getting productively done about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, jumping between ideas, sensory overload will be very high risk, and unfiltered communication, not thinking before you speak, so to say. Not only that, during retrograde time, it will be almost like you're not being understood fully. Miscommunications, things that aren't really hashed out before action is taken is going to be high. It'll be a good time to resolve conflicts through influence instead of force, and because that's going to, in the end, once we start moving forward again, it's going to leave you in a lot better of a place with those that are close to you, rather than building up resentment from over forcing imposing your ideas on people and whatnot. Resolve arguments if you happen to come into communication with siblings, brothers, sisters, whatnot, or having arguments amongst yourselves. You'll want to go ahead and resolve all those things before it comes time for Mars to move forward again, because that could cause a rift, and whenever rifts happen like that, it's hard to come back from. Once we're out of Gemini and Mars moves into Cancer, it's really going to be in his detriment, you know what I mean? And it's going to be even more emotional, about things that were not resolved whenever you had the chance with communication before.
Yeah, you're right. Because if there's going to be resentment and bitterness that grows here, I can just imagine how it's going to be when Cancer arrives, because it's just like festering and growing, and then that energy becoming that much more toxic and negative.
Yeah.
It's seeping within us.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I have for Aries. Mars being in the third house. Now, keep in mind, like I said, Mars is already in Gemini. We're at 8 degrees Gemini right now. I believe maybe even 9 right now. But we
I
entered
haven't
shadow.
checked.
I am looking right now. We're at 8 degrees 45 minutes. Um, so as of yesterday afternoon in Texas, that's whenever we are officially into the shadow period. So, like I said, keep those in mind. Keep that in mind. Also, I keep forgetting. I wanted to point out hard aspects that because Mars tends to be a malefic, which means it has more negative influences than it normally has positive influences, which you take your good with your bad. You make it work for you, obviously. But Mars still is considered a malefic, as where Venus is a benefic, which means it's mostly good. So, for that reason, I want to point out that if you, any of your viewers, if they are familiar with their birth charts or if they can pull them up somewhere to look at them, to make sure that you're paying attention to any planets that are in, let's see, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces. If you have any major planets in there and those within those signs, they will be affected. So pay attention to those things too. Anything in Sagittarius will be opposing Mars. Anything in Virgo or Pisces will be squaring to where Mars is right now. So those are challenging aspects. So you want to check your planets to see where your natal planets are, and act accordingly, so to say.
Exactly. All right. So the guidance I think was already given. It says that everything else could be like smooth sailing as long as you're able to reason with the least amount of force as possible. And this is going to deal with others, guys, where you think there's limited options. In other words, my way or the highway. No, compromise is going to be needed. Sacrifices are going to be needed in order to get ahead. And especially with a regular Aries energy, it's about, going from point A to point B, regardless of what's in the way.
And
No,
that's
like,
hard for Aries.
yeah.
That will be hard for Aries, obviously.
Yeah, and this is where you have to think more tactfully about your words and how you do things. And again, you have to navigate within that Gemini energy, guys. Be innovative to new ideas, new influences, especially if you are trying to get from A to B.
Exactly.
All right, next,
Very good.
the lovely Taurus. All right. So with Taurus energy, I don't know why, but I do feel like they're going to be the least impacted with this energy, and that's just an overall collective feel. So it's going to be represented by the second house of personal finances and possessions, where you restore, reassess for your home and money. In other words, how you spend it and what you spend it on. But to overall to be confident on what you do and go forth, but to also have some spice in your life. In other words, definitely do something different. Okay. Seek self help, because this is where a lot of your confidence and your fears are going to be really tested. And to me, it's basically looking at your shadow. Okay, guys, you're not having to undergo a lot of trauma compared to other signs here, especially with flashbacks or PTSD or just nightmares. But what this really means of is the energy is asking you to look in the mirror and what you can do now to appreciate, but also to be rid of, the old aspects of yourself that you no longer carry or have to carry. These are burdens that you just keep bringing on because of old beliefs. Okay, so again, be realistic about who you are or who you want to be, because Gemini is going to definitely enter your sign and put a whole lot of ideas in your head, and you don't exactly have to have the bad ideas, the negative aspects. No, you can have the positive, be like, hey, I am a friendly person, I'm a great person, I'm a loving person. Okay, why don't you put those and actually say them and start believing them? rather having that dread of, oh, okay, I could have done better, 3 years ago with that interaction with so and so. Who cares? That happened 3 years ago.
Yeah.
What are you going to do today? What are you going to do tomorrow? Especially during this energy that's springing about. Okay, what do you have, Brad?
Indeed. Also, like you said, it will feel pretty much natural for Taurians because Gemini is their second house, and Taurus rules the second house naturally. So it'll be like a doubling down on your ability to
Love.
go forth with business ideas, being financially independent, investing even.
Yeah.
Being very vocal and outspoken about your individual values and truths. You could even feel like the urge to learn how to do new things, or what I got here is you might have the want to learn how to cook different things. You know what I mean? Like
It's spicy, bro.
in the house. Yeah.
Spicy.
Get some spice in that food. learn how to use different spices and whatnot.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Let's see. I got also that you'll be more diligent with your efforts as far as like not necessarily your main career or source of income, but say like side hustles and whatnot like that. They will be very fruitful. So now's the time to go for it. If you have an idea about starting your own business or doing a side business, it should be a very good time for you to do that. On the other hand, the tendency to overspend as far as like investing in those kinds of things. Yes, investments are good, but when you can't cut your own feet out from under you, so to say. So, be wise when it comes to those kinds of investments and things like that. I see you laughing at me over there. What's up?
No, I'm laughing because that's exactly what the guidance is.
Is it really? Okay. Second house also rules the throat and the throat chakra. So, being outspoken about your truths, like I said before, you want to be careful with over-speaking your term. You know what I mean? Because vocal irritation is kind of funny. It says that like come time for there could be a lot of inflammation, things going on with the respiratory system. Actually, I think respiratory system is ruled by Gemini. Actually, so yeah.
I actually read that somewhere. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
So during this time, whenever there's setbacks, whatnot, maybe going into the things that you're, Mars also brings crises to the forefront too. So we want to be careful with the things that are happening or that happen to you or around you. It'll be a time when you may be forced to be innovative and deal with things of certain losses and crises that happen around you or near you. During the retrograde time, like I said, even if you do start a business during this shadow period, or go into financial efforts or endeavors with other people, there could be a time whenever somebody else may lose their resources or finances, and you're going to have to learn how to pick up that slack and kind of keep things going afloat. But don't be discouraged, because that's what retrogrades bring in any source, in any case, with any planet. It's a time for reflection and reinvention of your methods. So finding common grounds with others as far as like with finances and spending and materialistic resources. It's going to be a time for you to kind of negotiate with other people about those kinds of things. And also, of course, Taurians love luxury items and things that they desire, being ruled by Venus. But, watch your spending as far as that kind of stuff goes. Yes, you like to have the nice name brand things and whatnot, but you got to find a way deal with the off-brand stuff. That way you can be more productive with whatever you're using and what material resources you're utilizing, in order to be able to make sure that you maintain financially stable through the end process. So yes, that's what I have for Taurus.
Perfect. I don't know, just like what Brad said earlier, don't get in your own way. There are going to be aspects outside of you that you cannot control, but as long as you have self-respect and you have boundaries and you have even self-acknowledgement of who you are, there's not going to be anything to worry about, because doors will open, windows will crack open, and all you have to do is actually go for the plunge. Okay, guys, like, where there's a will, there's a way. And definitely during the season, there's no better time to be as innovative as possible, especially with what you got going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I like y'all's energy, because a lot of good things happening for you Taurians. Like, I feel it, I believe it, and I'm gonna see it.
Put that spice in that food.
Oh yeah. Try new things, guys. Come on.
Try new flavors.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about Gemini, our first house, at least represented by the first house, which is self and personality, as we are as a character and human being. Okay, so this is where our life, our goals, our relationships, and new starts to new behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be where we have to be, I don't know, like less critical and more compromising with ourselves. So there's going to be a lot of critical behavior whenever we look in the mirror. This is where we really need to start to evaluate what we're doing to ourselves, what we want for ourselves even, and how we go about that. And with this energy, all I keep seeing is that a lot of you guys are just going to be very cruel to everybody outside of you, but even to yourself, because all I keep seeing is a whole bunch of like daggers in your chest, and you're the one that's putting them there. Okay. You understand this is going to be the time period where a lot of flashbacks starts to happen, a lot of nightmares, a lot of trauma. And I'm talking about trauma that happened, 10, 15, 20 years ago, guys. That's going to haunt you, and you're going to be like, hey, I just had this memory of this bad thing that happened, out of nowhere. I was like washing the dishes. I was having a good time. It's happening because this is something that you need to have closure on, or at least a little bit of it, so that you can have some resolve. Okay. Because it's your soul saying, hey, this is sticking with us. And because you cope with it incorrectly, yes, you cope with it as best you could back then. Well, guess what? Now you need to have a new coping mechanisms, new behavior, so that you can live and grow, Yeah. And I don't know. That's basically what I have, is a lot of life lessons coming forth.
I agree, indeed. Because, like you said, some of those traumas and things that, resurface subconsciously maybe, or just all of a sudden come to the forefront of the mind, they will be issues that kind of make you question your sense of self. Mars being, the identity, the first house being identity of self, and how you define your interaction with your reality, and how you analyze and identify with the world around you, and your past experiences, your present world, your worldview. So it's going to be a time whenever Gemini, you will have a sense of identity and drive to put forth that identity. Yet at the same time, it will be a time where you'll be stressed and tested. Your resilience will be tested rather through stressful situations. Yet, of course, now you can't be passive about those things when they do happen. If they do happen, you can't just like go curl up and hide under a rock somewhere. No, you have to act. This is going to be the time to be motivated about moving forward, which is great because, Mars naturally rules the first house, which is, it's going to feel very easy to to stay focused. Yet that will be the challenge, so to say. It's going to be in your best interest, rather, to stay focused rather than, well, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit lost here. Yeah, the challenge will be to stay focused because, like I said, Aries is the ruler of Mars naturally, and Mars has the tendency to drive forward headfirst into new ideas, new sense of identity, and things like that. So remember who you are, especially during this retrograde time, because Mars is, like I said, very unhappy moving backwards. It doesn't like to go back and re-examine itself. It's like, I already said what I am. I'm not going to go back and rehash that out and redefine that. It doesn't ever like to admit whenever it was wrong.
I definitely.
Jupiter and Saturn, for instance, they don't mind going back and forth because it helps expand and redefine different ways of thinking and learning. But what I'm saying is, like, Gemini, whenever you do move forward with new ideas, new projects and things like that, complete them before you start getting all scatterbrained and going off left field and picking up a different one. Because, those are the things that are going to define you. And that's what Mars wants to do, is define the self. So you'll be able to have your sense of identity, and your personal truths are going to be tested. You know what I mean? So make sure that you are completing projects and establishing your truths, rather than just kind of like considering a certain perspective and then just being like, well, yeah, but no, like maybe it's something else. No, actually own up to the things that you feel, that you think, and don't be wishy-washy, so to say. Also, the tendency, to become a little bit overwhelmed and aggressive may come about. So it's going to be a good time for you to release stress. Don't bottle it up. Whatever you do not bottle it up. Release stress in a physical way. Take up martial arts lessons or something like that, because, it is healthy to let off some steam every once in a while, because we're all human, we all have that little bit of Aries in us, no matter what your sign is. And that aggression, it needs to be taken out somewhere. I'm not saying go and have it could even be, being that the first house, Mars, is a very sexual planet. You could be relieving stress through hot, passionate sex, you know what I mean? Or something like that. But make sure it's healthy when you do, you know what I mean? If you do choose to go that route, if you're not a violent person, make sure you're being healthy about it. Yeah. I mean, because, like I was saying, you got to do things that are physical, because if you're just popping off at the mouth and spouting off aggressive things in all directions and everything like that, that could be detrimental to your relationships. So finding a physical outlet will be much more well-rounded, and a better way for you to release that stress and anger that is not harmful to yourself or anybody else. All right. And that's what I have for Gemini.
Excellent. So what I have on a guidance scale is that if you do take this opportunity to really reflect on what you're wanting out of life, your relationships, even the relationship with self, it will have this whole slingshot effect, where the time and energy that you're investing into what you're doing will really catapult forward more than you could ever believe. And it's going to represent you on a personal level, but also a material level. So this is going to be the time where you can really, really manifest one's heart's desire, or even, big dreams, the most potential grown self of you. I don't know. It's a lot of possibilities, but this is where you have to step forward and not back.
Bring your visions to reality, so to say.
Very much so.
Walk the walk.
Walk the walk.
Indeed.
No more talking, guys. No more. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and dive deep in Cancer, which is going to be represented by the 12th house. And this is going to show our shadow, but also shadow work as a whole. And this is where temptation is really going to, ease its way. And this is where a lot of behind the scenes is going to happen. So whether it's people getting arrested for their crimes, or even, I don't know, just a lot of shady stuff coming to the surface kind of thing. But also doing things for unconditional love. In other words, the best way to feed your soul for Cancers is to do good for others without them knowing that you've done good for them. Like donating money to like the poor, or helping out with certain projects, but doing it alone, because this is going to be where you have to work creatively by yourself. So in other words, really source through what your subconscious is saying so that you can bring it to a material level, but also, again, your conscious level, because you're going to want to utilize a lot of energy into doing good work, light work even.
Right.
What do you have?
I like that. Light work. Okay, yeah. 12th house. Yeah. So Mars is currently transiting your 12th house. What I got is there could be the tendency. This is interesting, actually. You'll have a more spontaneous and an energized sex life, possibly even sexual dreams. Yet the astral realm is plays a big part in the 12th house. So even the tendency to, I don't want to scare anybody, but have succubus visit them in sleep and things like that. Dream sex with spirits, things like that. Also 12th house, Pisces, and Neptune also rule our vices and addictions. So you will be running the risk of falling down certain paths towards your addictive tendencies. So be very mindful about your substance abuse or use or alcoholism or addiction to anything, whether it be gambling, sex, things like that.
Well, anything to escape the subconscious.
Any escapism tendencies. Be very careful about this, Cancer. You could even have intense dreams that are very vivid, that seem very physically real. Even violent dreams, things like that. Be mindful. It's a great time. It's going to be the best time for dream journaling. So write these things down, because these are the things that you're going to want to, once Mars does retrograde, these themes will be coming back up. So write them down. That way you can have a blueprint, something to look at, and kind of explore your subconscious mind more in a more direct way. It's also probably going to be very easy for Cancer to learn to astral project or practice astral projection, or have visitors, like I said before, on the astral realm, maybe deceased relatives or loved ones, maybe coming back to deliver messages for you. It might be a good time to actually get into working with spirituality, doing light work, like you said, or the mystical arts, things like that. Yeah, this would be a very great time for Cancer to start doing those kinds of things. Come retrograde time, yes. I mean, you could be coming into frustrations with and around the bedroom area, whatnot, decreased libido and things like that, being discouraged from being sexually active. I mean, it might be a good time to start come that retrograde time. Maybe if you have been using or being a slave to your vices, like we were talking about, escapism, it's going to be the time when you really want to start to re-examine and look at those things and your relationship with these vices. Also, if you were into shielding, warding, and things like that, it might be a time that you want to make sure that your subconscious mind is protected and that you have all the guards up necessary to protect yourself from psychic attacks. So, like I said, when these dreams, quote unquote, dreams happen, be very mindful, watchful of what's going on and write them down, because write all these things down, because astral and psychic dreams are attacks are a real thing. So that's going to be something that you want to pay attention to. Pay attention to who shows up in these dreams and what they act like, how they talk, the things they say. Very important. So, because they're all speaking to you from your own subconscious. And these are the things that you're going to want to look at. That way, going forward, once Mars moves back forward again, you'll have a better sense of self and how your mind is working, what makes you tick. And yeah, so dream journaling is a really great way to do that. Because when you do go forward and you have this new perspective on how your mind is working, or it's a good tool to have. That way you can start to maybe re-examine how your worldview is and the kind of things that you identify with. So interesting. That's very interesting for Cancer. 12th house stuff is pretty out there. Also, like I said, it does rule over spirituality. So that'll be the time whenever you want to really learn how you identify with your own spirituality, whether it be anything, bunch of different avenues of spirituality around the world. So this applies to everybody. And your identity with that, whoever your god, goddess, or whoever you pray to, you're going to want to look at those things. And that's why the 12th house is such an important house. It's the last house of the zodiac. It's about release. And, going back into Aries, re-identifying yourself, reinventing yourself. So good luck, Cancer. That's, be mindful of your dreams.
Indeed.
Okay. And we have spiritual guidance.
The spiritual guidance that I pulled is going to be the Ace of Wands in the reverse position. And whenever I was linking to this card, it very much did symbolize a lot of what you were already saying, to not shy away from what the subconscious is trying to bring forward, because it's to reevaluate what you're protected by and how to protect oneself. But to overall, have the openness to be more accepting of what the truth is to each and every one as an individual. And whenever I kept seeing this, I kept seeing a lot of people wanting to escape because of being overwhelmed and sensitive to the downloads and the information and overall the energy that is trying to come forth and play a part when it comes to psychic ability, because a lot of this has to do with third eye ability, which is to see, to know, but overall, even astral projection, that's all third eye ability. So even dream interpretation, and all I kept seeing was people, either walking away, running away, or just shying away from what was already trying to become onto them. This is information that we can utilize to better ourselves or even the community, which either or, this is where a lot of mediumship ability also comes in. So, the scene of shadow people, or even the other realms, so to speak.
That's a great point.
Yeah, even the shamans, they only know of three worlds: the upper, the middle, and the lower. And with this, I kept feeling that you guys will be better able to navigate through these different realms, but to not be scared of what's going to happen, because again, there's a lot of sensitivity going here, and to be open to what is happening, because you are not alone. And that's the greatest thing about this, is that during this Gemini season, it is your turn to voice your own experiences, because they could add on to the experiences of someone else, or to even make someone else understand. Okay. And if you're getting angry at this time, again, shy away from that anger. This is not the time to be angry, because it'll actually cause too much influx of negativity that will cross into our next season.
Exactly.
So, Cancer already is very apt to spiraling as it is, and it's being able to balance, tapping into that. I think it's Aquarius energy. What energy is that I was reading just now?
Just now, Cancer?
It was Cancer. Like it's Cancer, but something else was represented by it, and I can't remember what it is. Which is fine. It's fine. It just means, I don't know, to maybe step back and understand. Because this is where a lot of people are just going to feel overwhelmed and just want to give up.
Yeah. You were saying about escapism and whatnot because of being overwhelmed by a lot of these things, the downloads and psychic attacks and whatnot. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because the tendency for some people, like I have a friend, we know a mutual friend, a particular person who is a little bit scared of you, who has abilities to see other dimensional things and spiritual happenings and whatnot, yet is a very afraid of what it means and doesn't know how to handle it, because a lot of times they could be seeing things that are not pleasant to see, or beings or that don't even understand, for the lack of a better word, I'll say people who are deceased who don't even know it, you know what I mean? And they use escapism to deal with it, because they don't want it, they don't want that happening. And Cancer naturally is very intuitive, so that could be a sensitive topic, you know what I mean, and very hard to go through with such intense vividness,
Yeah.
So that's where you run the risk of trying to escape from those things. But don't be afraid, because we all serve our purpose here and play our role in the light work, in the spiritual realms and everything. We all came here for a reason. We don't exactly always remember, but we signed up to come here to work this, to be light workers here on this planet. You know what I mean? And now it's a time when that's really rising to the forefront of human consciousness. This work is important, and we all need to do our part, so you are needed, Cancer. You are valid, so first thing you can do, the best thing you can do, is believe in yourself first before you can make any give any help to anybody else. So just remember that, Cancer. You are not alone, like Luna said. You are very loved. All right.
All right, let's talk about our Leos. 11th house. Ooh, okay, friends, group activities, and associations. So this is going to be a good time to start incorporating business ideas, also networking. So again, communication is going to be key whenever following through these projects. And it's going to apt you to be a leader of a group or leader of a project, but really step forth with that inspiration. So if you're seeing strengths or weaknesses in others, go ahead and point it out and help them. Be like, okay, you're really good at this. Now this is your weakness. This is how to better yourself, but also to be very motivated. Okay. That doesn't mean bash them. No, that's not what it means, but it means to get more sensational with your energy, because you're I don't know. I feel like a lot of musical talents coming through on Leo energy, and it's just because with this energy, it's going to be very important for self-expression, and this is where a lot of bonding can happen with you and others. But because of how passionate and protective Leo energy is, I am going to ask you guys to step away from miscommunication, but also gossip. You guys don't have to withdraw from energy, especially whenever you're trying to build upon something for other people. Remember, we can always resolve and compromise. Again, that is key, especially whenever trying to go forth on a platform. Okay. So be inspired. Inspire others, keep that energy going and flowing. Know that there's going to be a lot of setbacks for you guys, but hey, a setback is just minor. Be innovative. All right. What do you have, Brad?
Mars. Yes, Mars. Typically, Leo is very good with Mars energy, being that they're both fire, and Leo likes to steal the show, and
Hence self-expression.
Yes. But yeah, so this will be a great time to work towards long-term goals, being ruled by 11th house, long-term vision, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
far into the future. Expanding network horizons, networking horizons and whatnot, utilizing things like social media and whatnot to reach a wider audience and things like that. And actively, assertively, assert yourself and your image into marketing platforms, even networking with like what you do. I mean, you have what, Leo rising?
Yeah. Leo. I got a couple Leos. Okay.
You're moon and rising, is that right?
Yeah, moon and rising.
So networking or gaining clients from foreign places, from faraway places and whatnot. You be most likely by utilizing the internet. During retrograde time, Leo, you're going to be met with a lot of these setbacks and issues. Like I said, Mars retrograde in Gemini is going to feel like an extended Mercury retrograde. So technical issues as far as like working with clients and stuff across distance spaces. You may run into certain issues and setbacks like that, or issues between yourself and business partners and friends, difficulties pushing your platform or your name out there because of technical difficulties or communication problems. like you said, little setbacks, minor setbacks, and all in all, the effort that you put in is what you are going to get out of it. So just be mindful. Retrograde starts on October 30th, so try to get things in motion before then, and then keep in mind that when that time actually comes, you're going to want to kind of take a step back and just kind of let the ball roll. You know what I mean? That way, there's no trip ups. And even if there is little setbacks, it's not going to be like you're tripping over your own feet, so to say.
Yeah.
Because that in turn, letting it happen naturally is going to be the best way for that ball to gain momentum as it keeps rolling and snowballing. So in a sense, come retrograde time, less is more. And everything will fall into place, and little setbacks, like you said, they're not going to be end all be all. So taking that time to rethink your marketing techniques and advertisement methods will be a great time for that, and people like to see that. So whenever you businesses, they come with new different slogans and whatnot, you know what I mean? Like people like that keeps stuff fresh, you know what I mean? So it's always a good thing. Like setbacks are never always they're never a bad thing, you know what I mean? Because it kind of forces you to become more flexible, and then when bigger problems come around, you'll have more of an idea of how to keep your traction, so yeah, it'd be a good time for Leo to become to just put themselves out there, which in the end is always gonna, Leo likes to be on top of their stuff. So more exposure for you means more people in your kingdom. So enjoy it. Enjoy that exposure. Leo loves exposure.
They do. They definitely do. And the guidance card that I pulled for this, because there was a lot of energy going on, I dropped my cards everywhere on the floor. But what I ended up shuffling out was the Page of Wands in the upright position. So definitely a lot of inspiration, a lot of new energy, and a lot of hashtag goals, challenges, but also I don't know, it feels very playful. Like I said, it's that playful challenge energy of, hey, there was this one setback, or I was told I couldn't do this. All right, let me go ahead and prove otherwise. I got this.
I like
a lot
that.
of confidence energy that needs to come forth, guys. So revolution and evolution are definitely two terms that I want y'all to really, really embrace, because like Brad was saying earlier, this is a time to organize your fields, okay? Organize, concept, methods, and also build upon them. Especially whenever the energy goes retrograde. No, hey, keep pushing through, especially with Leo being Leo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking good for Leos.
Definitely.
I would have to say so. I don't know. The energy feels good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and when things happen, setbacks and whatnot, minor setbacks and stuff, don't lose your friends over it, especially if you're working with somebody who's close to you. Setbacks are setbacks. I mean, they affect everybody, but friendships are not always easy to come by. So, don't take it too hard, and don't be hard on others whenever they do happen. I'll try and keep that in mind as a Leo, as well.
I think you and I both do, since there are Leo placements for both of us that are very important, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. You have no idea how strongly your Leo energy does come through.
Oh God, I know. I don't even think I'm a Libra, okay? I'm pretty sure I was. I think my mom lied on my birth certificate. I think
That
that's
much?
all bad.
That much?
I mean, it would make sense though. I don't even act like a Libra. Like,
No, but I believe your Mars is now. If you're looking at progressions, if
okay,
any of you
progression's
people
yeah,
or
progression's a
if any
whole
of your
other
followers
thing.
are familiar
That
with progress charts.
you and I will talk about that later. Okay,
Okay.
I got you. Let's keep it simple to the
All right.
basics.
All right.
Okay, 'cause now we're gonna have questions about, oh, what's progress chart? Can you explain? How
Well,
does it
yeah.
affect the Mars and Gemini? Let's not
Oh,
go that
that's
far.
right. I forgot. Do you have anybody in your chat?
No,
Nobody. Okay.
no, because it hasn't been shared out yet.
Oh,
I told
all
you
right.
we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait until
Okay.
we complete.
We will come back to any questions later.
I think we will be able to on an individual level.
Okay.
But there shouldn't be too much because we did do a lot of self-explanatory and different ways of saying things again, which I told you which would happen anyway.
Okay.
But I think we still have like another 30 minutes because
Oh
we got
yeah.
4 more signs to do.
4 more. Oh yeah.
4 more. Virgo, Libra, Scorpio,
Virgo.
and Sag.
All right.
All right, so Virgo, represented by the 10th house. And it's going to be about status and efforts to contribute. It's going to be work for self and to be aware of passive aggressive tendencies, especially with this Mars coming in fourth. For you guys, it's going to come in forth very, very strongly. So this is where communication is going to be key. In other words, knowing what you want and wanting what you know. Okay. So it's just like, hey, I am craving pie. Okay, well, what kind of pie? Be very, very direct about what you are wanting. All right, you can't just say, I want pie and then expect someone to read your mind. No. And that's going to go for an overall metaphoric view of all situations, guys. Remember, people don't always know you, even if you think they do. They're like, oh, they should know what I want by now. No. Okay, stop the hostility. Okay. Breathe, breathe, because you guys are gonna want to like very, very like pick at other people. Not to say that you don't already pick on yourselves, but like I do feel a lot of angst with your energy coming forth. So
That's kind
this
of a
also,
pretty good thing to begin with.
yeah, and with this it says beware of co-partners. In other words, how you speak, how you deal with other people, which I think I just explained, because again, that's the energy I'm already feeling, where it's just like, okay, we're all humans, show common decency, respect one another, but to also know that if someone's having a bad day, don't immediately go on the defensive. Let them vent, because people want to vent. Now, if they keep on going about it, then that's when you're going to have to, step up your A game and be like, look, you don't get to talk to me like that. If you're having a bad day, absolutely. But after a certain point, enough's enough. So in other words, have that backbone to empower yourself as well. Because I know with this Virgo energy, it is going to be very challenged in what you're trying to achieve. It is not, yeah, I don't know. To me, achievement is going to be a big thing when it comes to this. So again, speak exactly what you mean, okay? Act accordingly, okay? And don't even overspeak. In other words, if you're trying to oversell something, trust me, it's already over. You're just going to seem like you're trying too hard and you're a liar at that point. Again, with you guys, I don't know, like talking too much is not a good thing. Again, it's an energy thing, guys. But make sure you are recognizing what you are doing. So honoring yourself with your own achievements. Like if you're doing good in certain behaviors, or if you're achieving, a goal that you've been working, for years to achieve. Make sure you honor yourself. Make sure you reward yourself accordingly. Okay. What you're doing is a big deal. It does matter. Even if you see it as a big deal, if only you see it as a big deal. Okay. Remember, honor yourself. Appreciate what you're doing in your efforts to achieve those goals. that you're wanting, to reach. Remember, one step at a time. Rome was not built in a day.
Indeed. Agreed. Yes, Virgo. This Mars energy will be in your 10th house, naturally ruling Capricorn. So, like Luna was saying, that attention to detail is going to be important when you're pushing towards your goals. You will have increased ambition, courage to build from the ground up, step by step, like Luna is saying. Let's see. You may feel the need to fight your way to the top sometimes, or have issues with people undermining your position, or issues with authority figures, police, and whatnot. Be very careful whenever you're trying to work your way up that you're not doing things that are illegal, or going the crooked way about it. Take the step-by-step process to make sure that you're covering all ends, so that you have all the answers and the details about the ins and outs of what you're trying to accomplish. Because without that knowledge and thorough, being thorough about things, you run the risk of setbacks, come retrograde time. That will be very discouraging for you, Virgo. And Virgo, under pressure, you already put enough pressure on yourself as it is naturally. Don't do that to the point to where you're gonna end up having neurotic tendencies and whatnot. You know what I mean? And being just angsty. Because it's a dog eat dog world. So. You may feel confident 1 minute, with Mars moving forward through the 10th house. You're like, oh yeah, I've got this down, but it's a big world. So, there's going to be competition. There'll be other people going after the same goal as you. And it may feel discouraging sometimes, but, it's not always for everybody. Like what other people's different approaches to what you're trying to accomplish may not be for everybody. So there's always other avenues out there to reach out to, and somebody out there always needs help. So don't be discouraged by competition or setbacks. The tendency to be impatient while navigating your way up the mountain, so to say. You'll want to jump cliffs and whatnot. No, take the time, to look at the steps forward, and carefully consider the next step to take. You don't want to slip and fall off the mountain and lose everything you invested your time and resources into. As a matter of fact, it's very likely that if you are already moving up the ladder in your career, that the retrograde time will bring issues that kind of just put things on hold for a little while. That doesn't mean you've come to a dead end. It just means that the universe is trying to work things around, move things around to clear your path even better, to make you more efficient when the time comes. And it might be a good time to even take a new, fresh look at old ideas that you may have put on the back burner for some time, new career ideas or inventive ideas. So, yeah, take the time to actually revisit some of those things, and maybe you might have some new insight on how to approach them, as opposed to when you tried before. And it could be a very great time to start putting some of those things back into play. All right. So that's what I have for Virgo.
Okay. The guidance I have here, guys, is that don't expect others to be like you. Okay, so this is having high expectations of others, but also an vision even of yourself that is not realistic. There are many choices and many gains that you have, especially during this energy and season. And it's because, I don't know, Gemini is really going to hit you hard and pushing you to go forward with your goals overall, especially where your status lies on a social path. So again, just because you will do something one way does not mean it is the only way to do something. And the card that is represented for you is going to be the Chariot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You take your resources and run with it, man. Yeah. But like you're saying, do it diligently. Don't, that's a very good point. Your way is not the only way. There are so many different ways, and that's what 10th house energy is all about, is finding all the different ways and taking them all into consideration, because there's not only one way to the top. There's many different ways paths you can take. Isn't that a Led Zeppelin song?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stairway to Heaven. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. And that's a quote. That's a lyric. I don't own the rights to the song. Facebook or whoever out there might call me on it. It's Led Zeppelin.
I think they would understand.
Yeah.
Someone that recognized it would be like, yo, that's my man. Yo, brothers. From another mother kind of thing.
Great band. I like their that album. That same album has that image of, it looks like the Hermit.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. Are we ready for Libra?
Yes, we're ready for Libra.
All right. Libra right now hitting the 9th house. There's going to be a lot of positive changes with Libra. So it's going to be represented by travel, publication, a lot of delays as well. So this is a time to actually enjoy those delays. Read a book, make a TikTok.
Yeah.
Like anything that has to do with social media. Trust me, guys. Like, this is where you should be Instagramming your food, your adventures, snapping some enjoyable moments with colleagues or loved ones. But also to start either new lines of study or even old ones. Let's say that you were studying pathology at one point. Hey, go back to that. But to always see the silver lining. And again, that goes back to delays. Why am I having this delay? Why are all these traffic jams happening? Why is my phone not working? Trust me, there is a positive side to everything. And that's not even going to jumpstart like all these positives. You're not going to see it until next year. Because to me, it feels like January to March, you're going to be slingshotted. You guys are going to have a lot of positive energy, a lot of mind-blowing, like divinely connected growth. Okay, but also good luck. I know this is not in the stars for astrology report right now, but that's immediately what I'm seeing for Librans right now.
It is actually 9th house.
You are right. Yeah. Higher education and travel.
Yeah.
You're right.
And luck. Because Jupiter is the benefic. It's like Santa Claus. He brings all the good luck and the gifts.
Yeah, I'm over here trying to just do divination here, and then boom, it's already written in the stars for it. No wonder I was picking it up.
I know. You see, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, go with it.
This should be exciting for you as a Libra, right? I mean, and Libra loves to do, have fun and do nice stuff, So it's like, for Libra, it's going to be like an answer to be like, oh, I was going, and now I got this time to sit back and I don't know, do a puzzle or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Puzzles, Sudoku. Trust me, use the brain, use the mind, anything that gets you thinking and going. It doesn't have to be a physical sense, guys, because remember, it's about social media when it comes to this. Because what you're doing that energy that you're putting out is already going to inspire other people to do and enjoy as well. Like, hey, Luna's having a good time on the beach over there. It's my time to do my beach mode. And maybe that's just a long hot bath, with a couple candles. Hey, that is amazing. Okay, guys. So with this, it means to change your beliefs, get rid of the old and in with the new, and this is going to do everything with affirmations, change is going to be important for you Librans, especially with this time of so much what seems to be bad luck, but ends up being for your higher purpose.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I have, okay, for Libra, I have ninth house, yes. So Mars will be in your ninth house, is already in your ninth house. So you'll be enthusiastic about, learning, or even impulsively traveling. Good. Those are good things. You could go see new places, absorbing and expanding knowledge and scenery and whatnot. Learning about new skills, things that you're passionate about. Actually dive into those things and learn as much as you can, because Mars is going to be the one that's going to push you forward and just say, "Hey, I want to keep going on this new journey of finding out as much as I can about these things that I love." Be a great time being in Gemini to learn hands on. Not just read a book, but actually get your hands in there and learn things firsthand. And in the same token, coming retrograde season, a lot of those things that you're learning, you want to take a step back and not overwhelm yourself with the information, but make sure that you thoroughly understand what you're learning about. Maybe even re-examine who you learn from or how you learn. Your mentors, people you follow on your influencers, your teachers. Maybe you take a step back and look at maybe where their motives are coming from, and what they're trying to push on you, so to say. Like, knowledge is power, so to say. So, where are you getting your knowledge from? Is it a reliable source? Take the time and step back and cover all ends to make sure that this is valid information that you're taking in. And I will say, not being a hater, but you got a lot of people out there trying to spread information and false narratives and whatnot through social media. I particularly have a bone, not a bone to pick, but a distaste for, like, as you know, TikTok. I would not trust TikTok as a valid news source. So, Libra, please, please, please double, triple check all ends of the information you're taking in. Because what you think you might be learning may be detrimental to other people that you're trying to spread this information to. Very, very careful. I understand, there's lots of good sources for astrological information or esoteric knowledge on TikTok. I mean, it's a very, very useful tool, but it is very dangerous as well. So be careful where you're getting your information. Because going forward, once we have Mars going forward again, that information is going to be taken very seriously. So, make sure you're not doing anything harmful or spreading harmful information. Okay.
All right.
Other than that, like you said, take those setbacks as a time to do something productive and enjoyable. Libra is also ruled by Venus, so pleasurable things are very important to Libra. So take the time to do that. All right.
So guidance for Libra. So while you're looking down at your notes, I brought up the 6 of Cups in the reverse position, but you said, beware of haters. And that's actually one of the guidance things is There is going to be a lot of haterism going on, a lot of disconnection within our social circles and even outward circles. You know, where you don't know that you're being watched. So
Mm.
while you're in the mode of just enjoying the good small moments, people are just like, "What's so great about your life?" You know, and they're
Yeah.
just going to be hating, hating, hating,
Yeah.
hating. So understand that even though you want to inspire others to enjoy themselves, a lot of your experiences during this time are going to be solo adventures. And that's completely fine, you know. This is the time to really like interact with your own inner self of your own desires and enjoyments. Like
This
Brad
Libra
was
tends to want to be about other people so much that, you know, it would be a very important time to say no. What about me? What are my values? You know, and like you said, the haterism. Oh my gosh, is it real?
saying.
And it will
Oh,
be real for everybody in general because of Mars being in Gemini. It's gonna be very real for everybody, and people love to hate on Libra just because, like, it's kind of like hate us because they ain't us. Look at you, like. But yeah, you don't hate me because I'm beautiful, right? Like type of energy. So yeah, very real, very real. Don't pay him any mind.
yeah. I knew. No, it's just gonna be a good time for Libras, okay? So stay out the drama, guys. All
Yeah,
right.
indeed.
You're already, well liked, well envied enough. There's not any reasons to, add fuel to the fire when it comes to that. Remember, this is a time to inspire others, but not feel superior to others, okay?
Mhm.
Because there is still some humanitarian within, your essence that says, no, I want to help others. I want to be about others too. Even though there's this time period, you're going to shift into more of a hermit type energy. Even though not completely hermit, but still, remember you're going to be the influencer. So make sure you influence positivity. Okay.
Mhm. Like that.
All right. Excellent. All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and talk about Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Yes, Scorpio. The eighth house, represented by life and death, is going to be overall transformation. And of course, I'm going to think about the tower, but also the death card when it comes to this. And it's about, tackling our issues, understanding self and others on a psychological level. But so this is going to bring forth, again, a lot of our traumas, a lot of our fears of what we need to tackle and face, overall. And this is going to be very, very harmful for people because they're going to want to lash out, I feel, because of what's going on inside. When someone has a bad day, they're really having a bad day. And with Scorpions, you guys are definitely going to utilize that energy. So it's very important that you not have that toxicity lashed out on others because it will affect you in time, even tenfold from what I'm feeling.
Mhm.
So remember, this is your time to shed your skin and become anew.
I like that.
All right,
Very
Brad.
well put.
How
Very
would
well
you
put.
word this?
This one's interesting to me, being that this is going to be happening in Scorpio's eighth house, and it just so happens that Mars was the original ruler of Scorpio before we discovered Pluto. So in a sense, it's going to be like revisiting home, and Scorpio does rule things that are hidden, occult knowledge and things like that. Or Mars being in that house will be wanting to actually dive deep, dig deep. Scorpio is also ruled by uh, breaking barriers and penetrating through the surface. Um, Mount Mars is going to make it very easy to dig up information, secrets, and things like that. So yeah, it will be naturally yet actively investigative. Um, you could be one of those people that kind of brings shocking truths to other people. Um, an interventionalist, so to say. you know, like kind of like stopping people in their tracks and showing them deeper truths that they may not understand currently, and maybe even forcing yourself upon the role of a psychiatrist or psychologist or mentorship. Uh, there could be lots of we'll see lots of things going on for Scorpio where secrets are revealed that are going to be very groundbreaking. Um, it also will roll physical transformation. So Scorpio, if you happen to be on a health kick or wanting to do things to physically change your appearance, physical transformation is also ruled by the eighth house. So I imagine that going forward into the further months around January and whatnot, you're going to see a lot of results coming from your physical endeavors as far as transformation goes, makeovers, whatnot, things like that, or just changing your aesthetic, all around, shedding the skin, like you said. But also, it could be a time for you to practice more, eighth house rules, sexuality. So reaching down into different ways to approach sexuality, maybe even practicing some tantric sex, things like that, spiritual mindfulness in sex in the bedroom. Because Scorpio, you naturally you gravitate towards those people that you want to be spiritually close with. Those are the only ones you let into your little Scorpion's burrow. You're very selective about those kinds of things. So, those will be things that you're going to be even more doubled down on as your boundaries. Or even, investing with mutual finances with other people or inheritances that you have come into. You're going to be very mindful about who you're sharing that information with or those resources with. Let's see. During the retrograde, you may be forced to rethink psychological stances and your approach to psychology or how you interact with your own subconscious mind and the influence that you want to have on other people and how to kind of try, how you're trying to influence others. So you could be taking that time, that retrograde time, to process this long hidden information, the secrets that may come up. How are you gonna process it? Because it could be a lot to take in if it's something that's very crucial, shocking information. You have to take the time to actually sit with it and absorb it, or let it pass. Whatever you need to do. You'll be having to take that time to find solutions to certain shocking information or crises that happen. You could be having, like I was saying, with if you're currently involved with diet or exercise, there could be some setbacks. Maybe things don't go as planned after a little while, or even finding different ways to approach those goals that you have, or even rapid healing through energy work, light work, working with the chakras. Scorpio, rules that sort of an inner that inner work, that balance of that serpentine energy. The what do you call it?
Alignment?
No. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. The serpentine energy, like you're working through the chakras. You got to have that energy, that Kundalini energy.
Okay, gotcha.
It comes from deep within, and it comes to the surface. works its way up, so to say. You could also struggle with overcoming trauma through the healing process, through rapid things that happen shockingly and very fast, things that force you, so to say, to deal with traumas, subconscious issues. If you are experiencing or noticing or seeing people who are having affairs, sexual marital affairs, that are doing things they're not supposed to be doing, those things may be coming to the surface. So be careful if you are involved with anything like that, to watch yourself, because everything comes to light eventually. Scorpio likes to be hidden, but that's why it's very set forth with its boundaries. You could also be losing during the retrograde time. Mars, like I said, does not like to be backwards. It hates it so much. So there could be a lack in sexual drive. There could be a loss of sexual passion in marriages or relationships. There could be fights about who's putting in more effort, things like that. Going into talking about finances with shared finances and investments. There could be arguments about that, about who's taking bigger piece of the cake and things like that. Or even, unfortunately, there could be loss or complications with inherited money or resources, which will in turn force you to have to take that retrograde time to learn how to budget, be more smart with your money and your time, obviously. Yeah, I think that's what I have for Scorpio.
Okay, so in terms of guidance, I do see a lot of interference with blockages, not being able to fight already a lost battle in war. So this means to not be stubborn with what has already been lost, and to either restart or even start entirely different. So this is going to cause a lot of people to realize that there are setbacks and debt, but also to be immovable whenever it comes to finances. In other words, gambling is not going to help you get out of the hole. Don't take unnecessary risk, because with Scorpio energy, this shows a lot of downfall. And again, I think it has everything to do with things coming to the surface, where everybody starts to know your business and what you're doing wrong. So it's better to maybe confess wrongs. In other words, let's just say, you overspent on a Gucci bag, so to speak, and you're not able to make the month's rent. Be honest about it, and then do better going forward, because trying to dig yourself a hole over and over is just going to make things worse. And a lot of money is going to be affected here for you guys. And again, it's going to put you in a position that you're just fearing of being overwhelmed, of the feeling of drowning even. And the guidance here is to, again, not fight already what's lost, but to reinvent, a better pathway, even if that pathway doesn't open up for a couple more months. Okay? So your debts from even years ago, they're going to be put on the forefront. Okay. Yeah. So your lies are going to catch up with you. Again, debts, just anything that you're trying to hide under the rug, it's going to be placed forward.
Very well said. Very well said. So be mindful, Scorpio. Pay attention to those things and just know, like I said, everything in the dark will eventually come to light.
Exactly. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about Sagittarius. In the seventh house, represented by partner, business, and clients, it's going to be the time for bonding. And if you're single, then this is where you are going to accidentally attract what we call martial people, which are demanding, very assertive people. So this is, I don't know, it's like you're asking for a challenge immediately. So if you're like in your friends group, you're gonna feel like you're wanting to bicker more with someone that has a lot of masculine essence already. And it's just because this is just where you need to grow and reinvent yourself in what you believe, even as an individual, how you want to power up, so to speak. And this also goes into like our contracts that we have in business and life. And this house is represented by a Libra. So again, we're going to reevaluate our partnerships and how we participate in these partnerships, so to speak.
Exactly.
What do you have?
I do agree. Yeah, partnerships are going to be at the forefront of the mind. And yeah, like what you said with about Sagittarius, they are going to be attracting more people that are combative, that are aggressive, or just being caught in the crossfire of certain arguments that arise and whatnot. But in relationships, people who are already in relationships, they'll find find the tendency that they are going to want to be more spontaneous, more jovial, youthful approaches to romance and partnerships. Let's see, seventh house. So teamwork is going to make the dream work. Yeah. Because I mean, unlike Scorpio, who's going to be doing a lot of self-reflection and introspection, your time is going to be best used learning about other people. That way, your projects, you can have a better hold on how you want to approach new projects. On the other hand, if you have relationships and projects that are not healthy, this is going to be the time when Sagittarius is going to see a lot of breakups and divorces, things that aren't working anymore. However, if it's worth fighting for, then you will see that the retrograde time is going to be a time for you to maybe get marriage counseling or relationship counseling and things like that. Renegotiating your position in your relationships, or personal and business agreements, things that you've had, maybe time to revisit those guidelines and kind of, hash things out from a different perspective,
I like how you said that, because that's what the guidance is to negotiate your affairs so that you can either get them in order or to just diminish them completely.
Yeah. See if there's a better way around it, a better way to get through certain approaches. Or, yeah, just throw it off the table completely and just, like cut ties, whatever need be,
In other words, to be realistic, if it hasn't worked in the past, it's not going to work going forward if you're doing the exact same things and there's not any change.
Exactly. Which will be a challenge. It will be challenging because Mars doesn't like to admit when it's wrong. It's like, it's detrimental. It feels like accepting defeat. You know what I mean? Like, and so, when Mars goes backwards, it's like, oh, hell no. I'm not about to admit I was wrong. Are you serious? No. Like, and that's the challenge there. So, good thing Sagittarius naturally, you have the ability to be flexible and expand your horizons. So you are also a fire sign, so it's gonna be a good time to grow those horizons. You know what I mean? As long as you're able to accept when things don't work out, and find different avenues, different partnerships, so to say. Find
Yeah.
new people to reach your goals with, because it's not the end of the world just because you have to walk away from certain people. The universe will show you time and time again when it is time, and unfortunately, time moves on, time goes on, and we don't always get the opportunity to do things if we don't jump on the opportunity and when it's presented. So best of luck, Sag.
Exactly. So just to add on to what Brad was saying, don't be delusional about the expectations and your wants going forward, especially when it comes to your counterparts of partnerships. Remember, it's going to be relationships, it's going to be acquaintances, it's going to be business. Especially, I do feel a lot of business. So, how you rule things, how you monitor, or where your morals lie, and your ethics compass. Like, if you're not seeing progress, guys, I'm telling you, you're not going to see it going forward unless change is made. And that's by all parties. That's by pure understanding. And understanding can't come without the price of trying. And it can't be always your way. Like, I'm telling you, trying to put things aside or even turning a blind eye, it's not going to work.
Indeed.
All right. So this concludes our Mars and Gemini for 2022. And just a quick reminder, guys, we're already in this energy. It's supposed to go retrograde on October 30th and then go back direct on January 12th, I believe.
I believe it was the 12th or the 15th. I'm not sure. Sometime around then.
Well, I looked it up somewhere and it was the 12th, but if I'm wrong, then it'll be by a couple of days.
Okay, yeah.
And then it'll end by March 26th, I believe.
20-something, yeah.
Yeah.
That's whenever we'll finally be out of that shadow period, right? 25. And then I believe at the end of March or the beginning of April is when Mars will officially enter Cancer. So
yeah,
Mars doesn't like to be in Cancer, guys. So make sure you're paying attention to these things that are happening between, well, now, because we are already in shadow throughout October, whenever this retrograde begins.
Yeah.
Be very mindful about what's going on. Take the information we've just given you and take responsibility for it. Mars is gonna do that. Mars is what's gonna help us to take charge of the things in our lives, these areas of our lives that we just covered. So take that time, take charge, and take the time to pay attention. Because, like I said, going into Cancer, Mars is not going to be happy. It's never happy in Cancer. So, sorry if you got natal Mars in Cancer. I mean,
You're sure, bro. Really? You're going to scare them off already?
I'm just kidding. No, I mean, you came here for this information, and so we're going to give it to you. And if you are hearing this, like Luna says, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But more often than not, she's pretty dead on with her readings and stuff. So pay attention.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, me and Brad are going to try to do this normal thing of the retrogrades and what to expect with whatever new energy or even full moon energy
That would be
I'm
fun.
pretty sure we're going to talk about that and try to do, you know, more readings on what to prepare for.
Mm-hmm.
So have a good night.
Good night or day, everybody, or wherever you're viewing from. It's been fun. We'll see you next time.